We played Jonathan Greenblatt of the Anti-Defamation League on CNBC.
The Apartheid Defense League.
Yes. I think we probably played that maybe a week or so ago, a few days ago.
I don't think we actually got to it.
Oh, we never got to it.
We discussed it briefly, but we didn't play it.
Okay.
So if you want to do 10-9.
Yeah, let's do it in reverse order then. This was August 18th, so earlier this week. God, these weeks are going by so slowly. Jonathan Greenblatt of the ADL went on CNBC and just blatantly lied about Zohran Mamdani.
We should ask right now. Like, this candidate has visited churches and mosques, not a single synagogue. This candidate has gone to Harlem to meet the black community, Washington Heights to meet the Latino community, Chinatown to meet the Asian American community.
And
not
yet,
once to a Jewish neighborhood.
The last poll I saw, something like 32 or 33%.
Yeah, the audio was out of sync there, but
that's his lie.
That's the lie. And then it was not questioned at all on air. I mean, all of these freaks are going on CNBC, including Andrew Cuomo, to speak just like directly to the financial audience in New York, concentrated on Wall Street, to try to galvanize monetary support to kill the nomination or the general election campaign for Zohran, even though he won the primary so overwhelmingly. That's a lie. Zohran visited synagogues. Zohran reached out to the Jewish community. Zohran, in the final tally of ranked choice voting in the primary, won a majority of Jewish voters. This guy goes on and pretends to represent Jews as he erases their democratic choice in the primary.
Yeah, the truth is Greenblatt doesn't respect the Jews that would invite Mamdani to their synagogue.
Exactly. He only respects Zionists.
Exactly.
To the degree that he and his organization excused away and refused basically to condemn, except to say that Elon Musk made a mistake.
Hey,
the multiple Sig Heils that he threw up at the Nazi rally at MSG.
Tempers are really hot right now.
No.
We had to cool down.
Sorry, it wasn't the Nazi rally at MSG. I got confused. It was the inauguration when he did the Sig Heil, like a fucking lunatic. And they refused to condemn it because Elon Musk did an about face after endorsing the anti-Semitic Great Replacement theory and decided, like, hey, I may be an anti-Semite, but I am on the side of capital, so I'll be on the side of Israel. Went to visit there, and who knows how much he's collaborating with the Israeli government in their technological genocide in Gaza, or in terms of providing those resources. But CNBC had to go out and correct the record a few days later. Took them a while. Here they are basically saying that was completely made up.
We had a conversation with Jonathan Greenblatt from ADL earlier this week where he made a comment that I just think is worth clarifying on the air, because he had said at one point and sort of made a point of saying that Zohran Mamdani had not met with any mainstream Jewish institutions, and that was sort of
he said he hadn't gone to any synagogues.
As we talked about this, and he was effectively trying to criticize Mamdani. The truth is, and I didn't know this in the moment, but he had actually visited a whole number of synagogues, and you can go back and look. He attended Shabbat services in Park Slope. He met with the UJA Federation. He met with a number of temples in the spring. Now, Jonathan Greenblatt, who I actually went back and forth with about this afterwards, suggested that what he meant to say was that Zohran Mamdani has not met with Jewish organizations after the primary. So he's putting a sort of a time element on that.
He did not put a time element on it.
He did not make a time element when he said it on the air.
He's a liar.
I don't know about the extent of all of this. And by the way, I would welcome Zohran Mamdani to come on this air. We've asked him to come on before. I think we have some really important discussions to have about the city, about capitalism and socialism and the economics of the city and what it takes to make all this work. But I do think it's worth
not clarifying, correcting this liar. This guy that gets to go on air and act like he's the representative for Jewish people, it's so toxic and is contributing to an increased culture of anti-Jewish hate in this country. And it's as predictable as anything that the right wing is obsessively now speaking about the Israel-Palestine issue and the genocide in Gaza in terms that are not ones that incentivize multiculturalism or understanding or racial integration and like peace, they are emphasizing it as basically an anti-Jewish Jewish versus Christian thing, or as like secret foreign infiltrators in America that are pulling the puppet strings of our government and driving our Israel policy, as if our Israel policy isn't American foreign policy and inextricably linked, and not the current state of Israel would not be possible if it were not for American imperialism propping it up in the way it is. Perhaps you could have had a conversation and said that it was more sovereign 40, 50 years ago, but given the United States' continuous involvement in the Middle East, the Gulf Wars, the Iraq War, Afghanistan, how much money flows there, Israel is de facto a vassal state of the United States. And so the right is now talking about it in the opposite way, as if it's the Jews controlling the world. We know where this leads. And Jonathan Greenblatt, with his propaganda effort and his constant lies, is incentivizing it. And frankly, the Zionists don't mind. Netanyahu loves this crap. It's more of a reason to say that Israel's the only safe place for Jews. The more you get people completely hysterical about in this kind of fear-based view. And it's fear that's based at this point. If you're still buying this crap, you just don't like Muslim people, straight up.
He's a fascist liar, and it's interesting that our media is not sort of aware of this. I mean, that was the thing that stuck with me with we had Dr. Lubani on again.
Yeah.
Because this whole charade of we need to work with Israel, we need Israel to let in aid, it needs to be imposed on them. They are liars. The people who represent Israel are just liars. They're not going to be that are pursuing a project that is hostile to humanity. And Greenblatt, here's another just interview he did. I can't remember where this was. This is just a couple weeks ago. Listen to this and tell me if this is compatible with a modern society.
Is it your sense that Jewish people are getting complacent, that they're not engaging to degrees and levels we should be?
I have met a lot of October 8th Jews for whom the massacre on October 7th was a wake-up call. I've met a lot of people who feel much more galvanized, much more organized. But that will only be sustained if we offer them, ways to participate in a real and robust way in Jewish life.
Mm-hmm. And whose responsibility is that? And
all of ours.
Yeah.
But this is why we need a revolution in our community on so many levels. So look, the reality is that intermarriage rates continue to go up. Assimilation continues apace. And look, I fight anti-Semitism.
Assimilation continues apace. This is a apartheid. This is an Afrikaner. I don't care that
this
they're
is
Jewish.
A widely held view among some Zionists.
Yes,
I've heard this before in casual conversation.
This is the type of thing that they don't want to say in public. They might, say call up Sam to complain about treatment we give people on the show and say, why don't you think that it's okay for Jewish parents to want their kids to only intermarry Jews?
Yeah. I mean,
no.
and I don't think so. I think you can have a more nuanced conversation about sometimes minority groups, there is that impulse because of either historical genocide or say, slavery, where you can have that attitude in communities about trying to keep the culture together.
You can have it, but there's a reason you want to keep it off the mic because it's shameful.
Within the context, though, of Zionism and Israel, when we're talking about racial purity, that's when it becomes actionable. It's a different situation when you aren't when you're talking about replicating certain bloodlines when you have all of the power as a vassal state for the imperial power of the world.
I think it's honestly, you can put history aside. It's weird to say we should only intermarry. And
I think it's weird, yes.
You're being concerned about miscegenation.
Yeah.
It's 2025.
Yeah. I mean, you'll hear no argument from me on that point.
This is the sort of thing my parents' generation
Yeah.
had to get over. Like this is just retrograde thinking.
But what's an October 8th Jew as well? Like, is it
That's the Matt Lieb, liberal Zionist. Oh, I'm bad now, Jew.
Oh,
which is
the ones
that I
right.
support Israel and whatever it has to do.
Yeah. Okay. So gotcha. So it's not the millions of Jews around the world who had their illusions about Israel shattered and who came to the right side.
Yeah. Not Jewish voices for peace.
Opposing this genocide. It's the folks that went the opposite direction that realized, like, hey, the only thing that got me supporting liberals in America or in the UK or what have you is the fact that I was worried they were going to come for me. I don't really care about everybody else, but I thought that the Republicans don't like me or, the Tories don't like me. But now I'm seeing they're kind of on my Israel's side. So.
And you look at, I can't remember what show it was. Edward Said was on with the guy from the ADL in like the 90s or 80s. And it was the same sort of thing, which is the ADL guy saying, I don't even know if I could be in a room with this guy because he's basically a terrorist. He wants to kill all the Jews. And Said saying, well, can we just talk about like occupation and stuff like that?
Right.
And then a question to the ADL representative, again, not Greenblatt. Greenblatt might have been a young boy at this time. Before like Bill Clinton, Barack Obama decided to give him a job. But this ADL representative was asked, hey, these like Israeli military guys saying this very clearly genocidal stuff, like what do you make of that? And the guy said, oh, that's just a marginal part of the Israeli society. Every military has their kooks. Well, we see, like, first of all, they're still making that same sort of apology about people like Smotrich and Ben-Gvir as they're in the driver's seat in the Holocaust.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.